Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. All about nutrition from your favorite dietitian. Everything you need to digest in your mind. Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. Making you healthier one bite at a time. With Tony. Woo.
Hello and welcome to the Tips with Tony podcast. I'm Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time. Recently, I'm hearing a lot of people are taking magnesium supplements, and I wanted to definitely address this to see if in fact you actually need it. First things first, food is always something we want to consume first before taking a supplement. However, I'm very much aware that despite the recommendations to eat healthier options, we still fall short on it. Whether it's intentional or unintentional, busy lives, whatever the reason being, it is challenging to get a variety of nutrient-dense foods in the diet, and those that are high in magnesium sometimes are missed. So first things first, I do want to just talk about why magnesium is important and what it actually is. So magnesium is a mineral, and it is required by the body. It's considered one of the micronutrients that our bodies need in small quantities. However, we do need them every day. Can you survive without it? Absolutely. Will your body thrive optimally without it? No. So there's a ton of research and definitely more to come down the line of the benefits of magnesium. So it's being studied in mostly heart health because it has a lot to do with muscle contraction, but there's more and more research seeing that if it's helpful with respiratory issues, muscular and skeletal issues, metabolic issues like diabetes, things related to your central nervous system. Stress is a big one. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, and even immunity. And so there's a ton of research about the benefits of getting adequate amounts of magnesium and how it can benefit you in multiple areas. Now, obviously, with research, we have to remember that it's complex, and I don't believe one nutrient stands alone. I think they all work well together, and that's why a variety of your nutrition, a variety in the diet is really, really important. However, magnesium is often missed. Some misconceptions is that because the soil in the U.S. is not adequate in those minerals, but really it's just the way that the food is processed that decreases the nutritional content of those foods, and a lot of the processing in foods that are naturally high in magnesium, like our whole grains, actually, when you mill wheat, 82% of the magnesium is lost. So it's a lot. Despite that, though, whole grains are actually a very, very great source of magnesium. But with everyone doing low carb diets, it's often missed in the diet, and most people are not getting enough magnesium. So let me first just say that the reason behind a lot of the reason why magnesium might be missed is because people are moving further away from fresh foods and going more towards processed foods. So an example, and I've talked about the importance of breakfast. Actually, the last week, I think I talked about breakfast and intermittent fasting and how so many people aren't getting enough whole grains in their morning. They're not getting enough fiber. So a very common breakfast now might be a fried egg, sausage, a piece of toast, and maybe some orange juice. And whether you do white bread, white toast, or whole wheat toast, you're still only going to get about 47 milligrams of magnesium in that breakfast item. But if you have something like oatmeal with 2% milk, maybe some pecans, and some blueberries, you're going to have 151 milligrams of magnesium. So you can see how the variety is so different when you take a pretty standard breakfast, like a fried egg, sausage, a piece of toast, and then you add something like oatmeal, how you could actually get to 151 milligrams of magnesium. And you're like, how much is that? Is that a lot? Is that a little? I don't know. Well, just to give you a general recommendation, the recommended daily allowance, the RDA, for magnesium is usually around 310 to 320 milligrams per day for females and 400 to 420 milligrams per day for males. However, more research is showing that it's actually probably better to calculate it by body weight. So it would be 3 milligrams per pound of body weight. So an example of that is if you are 175 pounds, you would multiply that by 3, and your daily needs would actually be 525 milligrams per day. So RDA is a little bit complicated because depending on what standards you're talking about, everyone has different standards, so it's a little bit more, that's another issue for another day. However, in general, I would say around 400 milligrams per day is good, whether you're a male or female. I think that's a good thing to aim for. So that sounds like a lot. However, if we just said, if you start your day with some oatmeal, you're already pretty good there. And then nuts are a great source. So typical sources of magnesium are usually going to be in whole grains, nuts and seeds, beans, leafy greens, and even some fruits as well. And so in general, about 3/4 of Americans, 75% of the US, is not getting enough of those items. So it's not a surprise when you find out that they're short in magnesium and experiencing all these other ailments that are usually associated with lack of magnesium, but also could just be lack of just nutrients in general that they're not getting an adequate amount of. So what that would look like in a day, so I'm going to give you an example of 450 milligrams of magnesium per day. So that's enough for females and that's enough for males. So 450 milligrams, what that would look like in a day would be 1 cup of whole wheat pasta, 1/4 cup of almonds, 1 cup of acorn squash, an ounce of 70% or more dark chocolate, and 1 cup of boiled spinach. So honestly, if you throughout the day you had snacked on some almonds and dark chocolate, for lunch you had acorn squash, and for dinner you had whole wheat pasta with spinach, you reached your needs of magnesium, and therefore a supplement might not be necessary. However, if you struggle in reaching the amount of magnesium you need, then you might want to consider a supplement. Now, another reason why you might want to consider a supplement is because nutritionally you feel like you are getting enough magnesium. You eat plenty of whole grains, plenty of nuts and seeds, plenty of greens, and yet you're still experiencing things like maybe migraines, muscle aches, difficulty falling asleep, constipation, or if you've been recently under a lot of stress, mental or physical, or your body had some sort of a virus, then you might want to consider taking a magnesium supplement. Also, if you have a history of bypass, then you obviously have an absorption issue where your doctor should be telling you to be taking a bunch of different supplements anyway. So those are going to be reasons why, despite your eating enough, if you experience any of those things, muscle aches, migraines, having trouble falling asleep, constipation, a magnesium supplement might be beneficial for you. Now, what supplement do you have is always the question. So as you know, supplements are not regulated by the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration. And so you want to make sure that there's that stamp. It says NSF. NSF stands for the National Science Foundation, and it's a U.S. government agency that supports fundamental research and education and basically makes sure that the supplements that it says that it has, and all the benefits and everything, that it's been studied and tested, and everything that it says that's inside of it is actually going to be inside of it. So the supplement that I've just come across, so I started taking a magnesium supplement after I had diagnosed with Epstein-Barr, because I was getting a lot of muscular aches and stuff, and it's a virus, and it goes through your system, and it puts your system under a lot of stress. So I was depleted in a lot of different things. It wasn't just magnesium. However, magnesium was probably the one thing that I felt I really saw a significant difference when I started supplementing with it, despite whether my diet had enough or not. Sometimes our bodies need it. So really high stress situations could be like a virus, or also just honestly, general, if you're super active, then that's going to be something that you could benefit from having a magnesium supplement, because if you think about it, you're putting a lot of stress on your muscles, and magnesium is a critical thing that is stored in the muscle. So you're depleting it over time if you're doing lots of high intensity exercise and training. Particularly athletes would probably benefit from a magnesium supplement. So anyways, you want to make sure that your magnesium supplement has that NSF label, that stamp to certify that everything it says that's inside of it is actually inside of it. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me, tipswithtony@gmail.com. And if you're not already subscribed to the Tips with Tony podcast, don't forget to subscribe. A new episode comes out every Monday and every Wednesday. And when you're subscribed, you don't miss a beat. As always, I'm Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time.